Porte ISD, and thank you for being here. It is now 7:05, Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. I hereby call this meeting to order. Notice of this meeting has been posted in a manner required by law. The Board of Trustees of LaPorte Independent School District is now convened. Let the record show that all trustees are in attendance and a quorum is present. At LaPorte ISD, as the LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees, every student's success is our number one priority. We are here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make the day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. However, audience participation is limited to the patron presentation portion of the meeting, and board members may not respond to those comments made in the public comments section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. Thank you for all being here, and at this time, if you'll please stand for the presentation of colors led by the LaPorte High School ROTC. Tonight, we led by Cadet Private First Class Shelby Martinez, the American Guard Cadet Private First Class Cole Hart, Texas Flag Cadet Private First Class Everardo Garcia, and the Texas Guard Cadet Private Jeremy Summers. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We'll now hear the invocation by Ms. Thompson.
You'll please bow your heads. Lord, as always, we come to you with grateful hearts for the many blessings we have been bestowed. Thank you for being our healer in times of trouble and our provider in times of need. As we wrap up this school year, let us ever be grateful for the safety and the successes that we have experienced, and let us be hopeful for the future. As we celebrate Teachers of the Year, monumental years of service to our children, and our well-deserved retirements, we are reminded that your love flows through us every day. Father, please embrace our fellow board member David Yonda and his family as they navigate the loss of Lila. Protect and heal their hearts as we mourn alongside them. Tonight, we add a new trustee to our team, Lord. Please help us embrace and mentor her on this new beginning. Grant us the wisdom to make this meeting a productive one, and let our discussions here be beneficial to everyone in the district. All this we pray in your precious Son's name. Amen.
You may now be seated. All right, we are going to move to item number 5, and tonight we are recognizing David Yonda's years of service as he retires tonight after 12 years service for the LaPorte ISD. Mr. Adam.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. David Yonda's decision to step away after 12 years on the LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees marks the end of an era of dedicated service and leadership. Throughout his tenure, including terms both as president and vice president, David has played a pivotal role in shaping the direction and policies of this district. His commitment to the betterment of LaPorte ISD has left a lasting impact on the community, and his contributions will be remembered with gratitude. Thank you.
to have it, say a few words, you're welcome to say a couple of words to David if you like.
I'll go ahead and start. Y'all know I'm a man of many words, so. David, from the time we were homeowners association to the last 3 or 4 years here on the school board, you meant a lot to me. Learned a lot from you, and you're going to be really missed. Thank you.
I'm a man of not very many words. That's a joke. David, since the first time you helped me lose my first election, no, just kidding. David and I used to talk every single night, especially during election times. David cares very deeply about this school district. He cares very deeply about the city of LaPorte and each one of its residents and each one of its students. David, we're really going to miss you. I've learned a lot from you. And while we don't always agree, we always do respect each other, and I've always appreciated that. Thank you.
David, I am so grateful for the leadership that you have shown us and for all the things that you have taught me as a trustee in my time here. The one thing I don't think that will go away once your time here is done is your infamous catchphrase that I can't say here that we will probably continue to use. And when we say that, we'll remember you fondly.
Thank you. Just not in public, right?
And Jeff?
I don't think I can speak right now. I'll let Jeff go.
I'll echo that sentiment, everybody else. David, you can blame David for this, but he's the one that strong-armed me into getting on the board 3 years ago. So, you're getting a lot of hate mail for that one. So I'm going to miss him tremendously. He is one of those guys that lives for all things school board and politics, and does his research, and anytime we have a question, David's the guy to go to. So I'm going to miss that tremendously. I'm certainly excited for Karen and what she's going to bring to the board. Man, I'm going to miss you, having you next to us and being a friend, and hopefully it's just you're going to go on to bigger, better things and not leave us too far behind, man. So we love you and look forward to whatever life has in store going forward, man.
Thank you, Chair.
You have helped me immensely and shortened my curve in a very short period of time, and I'll be forever grateful for that. All I ask is that you don't change your phone number.
No.
So, we wish you years of happiness. I know you're going to be involved in something else probably by the end of the week, but you're always welcome here, and we appreciate everything you've done for the Porte ISD.
Thank you.
One more time for David. Hey, did you want to, I'm sorry, did you want to say something before you step on?
Yeah, I did have a little speech for a second, if y'all don't mind for a second. Yeah,
That's my fault.
and those are the people that know me. I'm not a good public speaker by any means, and so I had to have some prepared words, and I think emotion will also get the better of me during this time. But if you allow me for just a moment, first I want to say thank you to my wife Lala, who took care of Angelica and tucked her in at night while I was at the board meetings. My mom, who picked my wife up from work so I could attend the 5:30 meetings on time. My dad and Lala's sister Karen, who also helped out when an issue arose for picking up Lala and Angelica from some activity while I was in board meetings. I want to thank you, admin, Walter, board, for the flowers, your support, and condolences while we experienced an earth-shattering event 3.5 weeks ago. What these last few weeks have shown is what a wonderful community of support LaPorte is. While we may argue on the final points of policy here in this room, what is important is that life is precious. Stay close to your loved ones and keep your focus on people. What makes the school district is not its buildings, nor the stadium that's currently being built. What makes this district is its people. You, the district administrators overseeing our district, principals and office staff overseeing our campuses, our teachers who face every challenge imaginable, the paraprofessionals who support our endeavors, the custodians who clean our buildings, our maintenance and tech workers who keep us running efficiently, the SROs and crossing guards who help keep our students safe, the bus drivers who bring our students to school, the cafeteria workers who cook the meals, and our students who come to learn each day, and I'm sure I'm leaving out some on this list. I wish I could be leaving you in better times and offer you words of hope and optimism. But given the illogical nature of our school finance system, we, and I mean not just us, but throughout the state, we are facing a reality where we can afford these nice buildings, but struggle to keep the people within them. We must not look to the legislature to resolve our issues, which time and again they have failed in that regard. But we must take control of our own destiny and make the decisions necessary to put this district on a more permanent, financially stable path. I've had the privilege to work on the campaign of, whether successful or not, support or appoint every person currently serving on this board. There's no better board to tackle the challenges ahead. But I do warn moving forward that execution is key. How many sports teams had the best players on their rosters but never make the playoffs or the championship? Keep that in mind. Work together for the greater good for the employees and students under your care. Walter, no offense to the prior superintendents of Porte ISD who each had their own challenges facing them and had their own successes. But you came in at a unique time during COVID, tackled that issue, brought the district to the forefront in terms of social media presence and notoriety, and brought the morale of its employees up. Many of the issues, and Deanne knows very well, that have been fought for years, you effortlessly resolved. I can confidently say without reserve and make this prediction that LaPorte ISD will never have a better superintendent than you. And I say this without knowing the outcome of a Vader that will inevitably come to pass and will have to come to pass, and more than likely within your tenure if we are to have a LaPorte ISD for the foreseeable future. I wish you the best and hope that you have a long tenure in this district. I don't know what Angelica and my future will hold, but as long as I live in LaPorte, I'll be involved in some form or fashion, hopefully shaping the course of the city and school district for the better. Thank you to all of you, and I wish all of you goodbye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, David. At this time, it is time to swear in our newly elected trustee, Ms. Karen Wheeler Hall. It's also time to canvass the election returns. The time is now 7:20 p.m. A tabulation of the votes cast has been prepared, and the results of the May 4th, 2024 general trustee election will be read into the record. The results are the sum of early and election day voting for each candidate. Please note that as per section 2.053 of the Texas election code, if there is an unopposed race within general election, unopposed candidates must also appear on the ballot in a traditional manner and must receive at least one vote. Good thing you got one vote. So, a position for Mr. Jeff Martin received 1,341 votes. Position 5, Karen Wheeler Hall received 898 votes, Jeremy Borja 400, and Chris Murdoch 225. The results of the election have been read in the record. Is there a motion to accept the results of the election?
So moved.
Second.
A second? All right. We don't have to vote on it. That's it. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? I'm sorry, we do have to vote. Can I reach over? Questions, comments?
Really good at this, by the way.
Call for the vote? Yes, for you. All right. Let the record reflect that the canvass results for May 4th, 2024 general trustee election has been approved and are official. Mr. Jeff Martin and Ms. Karen Wheeler Hall will now step to the dais for signing of the officer statement and oath of office.
We don't know where we're supposed to be, so we're just in limbo.
Yeah, because we're going to go up there and take a picture.
You're right.
Certificates of the election have been prepared for each candidate elected to office. The report of returns will be delivered to the Secretary of State as required by law at the conclusion of this meeting. The newly elected trustees will now sign the required officer statement, which will be retained for official records of the board. Okay.
Please raise your right hand and state the following. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the school board trustee for the LaPorte Independent School District of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Let's go ahead and have you sign your oath up. And we'll take photos if that's okay. This is Mr. Martin. This is right here.
We screwed up Martin.
Sorry.
She didn't break it up in small amounts like that. She read the whole thing. She thought we were
I think 2 words at a time. Oh, you're.
Memorization.
What you said.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I know, but I was trying to get the exact
Jeff and Karen in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, it's Jeff Karen in the middle. Can you get us on?
You can actually sit board, y'all can stay out there. We're gonna go to the performances by Heritage Elementary students. So so if you want to watch from the front.
Come on, Mac, you're taller than him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're being entertained tonight in our final board meeting of this school year by the Heritage Elementary School Choir, directed by none other than Miss Jamie Leupold.
We just finished a concert with the elementary honor choir over at the high school. We zigged through the high school and came right over here. We're thrilled to be here tonight. Glad to have Ms. Hyde, Ms. Barker supporting us today, and every one of the parents who are here tonight. They're going to be singing a song that I think, we sing a lot of fun stuff. We get to sing for the Astros, which is important to sing our national anthem, but to sing a song that speaks about the true character and heart of what we can bring to kids here in the Porte ISD, I know certainly from Heritage, is great. And we have 4 soloists. I'm going to let them say their name, and then we'll pass it back down. So say your first name, please.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Ortiz. I'm Caitlin Garcia. I'm Boana Wetner. I'm Annalisa Gonzalez. When I feel alone or afraid, and nothing is going my way, or when I'm just running a little low on faith, that's when I just gotta believe there's power and courage in me. And whatever happens, through good days and bad ones, I will stand and say, I will draw to in the dark. I'll do the right thing when it's hard. I'll reach out my hand if we start to drift apart. When you need my help, I'll be there. 'Cause our superpowers are meant to be shared. We're brighter together and stronger than ever, hand in hand and heart to heart. I can climb this mountain, I can break the clouds, I can do amazing things. I'm telling now how far I'll go. I know, so I will live on the ride.
Let's give it up one more time for the Heritage Choir. Have a great summer, y'all. And parents, as the choir exits through this door over here, if you would please exit that way with them after photos and everything, of course. That way we prevent a log jam coming in this way. Come on.
Hands to your sides. Together. The rest up. Okay, put the on there. What color?
Continuing with our recognitions, first this evening, when the 24-25 track season opens, the Port High School junior Arissa Rodriguez will once again be ranked among the state's best. In case you haven't heard, Arissa finished 6th recently at the UIL State Track and Field Championships. Congratulations. Also, what you need to know is she finished just 3 seconds off the lead. There's plenty of time to make up those seconds, and so next year, bring home the medal. Anyway, Arissa, congratulations. We're so proud of you. Come on up. And Bunny, did she break your record?
She's run faster than I've run.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. By the way, this is Mom and Coach Carolina Rodriguez. Countless hours of hard work and dedication culminated in the annual LaPorte Livestock Show and Rodeo Association's annual livestock auction, where thousands of dollars were earned by our FFA students for their projects. This evening, we're recognizing our Grand and Reserve champions. First, Georgia Bell, Reserve Champion Visual Arts. Becca Branch, Grand Champion Broilers and Best Buck. Grayson Goodrow, Grand Champion Ag Mechanics. Brooke McBee, Best Doe. Ashlyn Kimball, Grand Champion Visual Arts. Kelsey Elledge, Grand Champion Swine. Royce Martinez, Grand Champion Steer, Grand Champion Lamb, Reserve Champion Horticulture. McKenna Rankin, Grand Champion Horticulture, Reserve Champion Lamb, Grand Champion Goat. Haley Stokely, Reserve Champion Swine and Reserve Champion Creative Arts. Jake Heyman, Grand Champion Heifer. Kinley Rankin, Reserve Champion Broilers. Elijah Wicker, Grand Champion Turkey Tom, Grand Champion Turkey Hen, Reserve Champion Culinary. Jeremiah Wicker, Reserve Champion Turkey Tom, Reserve Champion Turkey Hen. Camden Elko, Reserve Champion Heifer. And finally, Talon Heyman, Reserve Champion Ag Mechanics. And all of these students, let's recognize their teachers, Carrie Hicks, Erica Spidia, and Deanna Morris. We need a couple of those.
You're right on the game,
Way to go. Now we move to our staff recognitions. Each year, around February and March, staff members at LaPorte ISD campuses select the Teacher of the Year. Honorees are chosen by their peers for being skilled teachers and for having a love of teaching and learning, among several other characteristics. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024-25 Elementary Campus Teachers of the Year, beginning with Bayshore Elementary, Kimberly Weekly. College Park Elementary, Elizabeth Owens. Heritage Elementary, Amber Cornegay. Jenny Reed Elementary, Michelle Nance. LaPorte Elementary, Julie Spears. Lomax Elementary, Ashley Wiltz. And Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary, Mona Gibbs. And now for our secondary campus teachers of the year, James H. Baker, 6th grade campus, Candace Stakes. LaPorte Junior High, Gary So. Lomax Junior High, Lori Burns. LaPorte High School core subject areas, Tara Ybarra. LaPorte High School non-core areas, Andrea Angelo. The Academy of Viola DeWalt High School, Gerald Grauman. And secondary DAEP, Gloria Solomon. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations. Without our bus drivers who travel thousands of miles each year safely transporting our students, there would be no school. Without our cafeteria teams, many of our children could not enjoy the only nutritious meal that they may receive in an average day. And without our maintenance personnel, we would not have lights, air conditioning, and many other things that we often take for granted. On behalf of everyone, including our Board of Trustees, thank you to all of the departments in our Support Services Division for keeping everything running smoothly throughout the school year. And tonight, representing our Maintenance Department is Jeremiah Galvan. He's an electrical technician. Jeremiah, you here? Representing our Child Nutrition Department, Cheryl Sloan, Coordinator, School Nutrition Trainer. And we have two representing transportation, Supervisors Belinda Chapa and Samantha Pugh. Thank you all for all that you do for our students. After dedicating 23 years to LaPorte ISD, Camilla Whitlock has decided to retire, leaving behind a legacy of commitment and excellence. Camilla, start making your way up here. Her unwavering dedication has positively impacted countless students, colleagues, and the entire school community. As she steps into retirement, her influence and contributions will be fondly remembered and greatly appreciated. Thank you. Curtis Doherty's retirement from LaPorte ISD marks the end of an era as he leaves behind a remarkable 21-year legacy of service and leadership. Throughout his tenure, he has been a steadfast advocate for students, educators, and the broader school community, leaving an indelible mark on the district. As he embarks on this new chapter, his impact will be remembered with gratitude and admiration by all who have had the privilege of working alongside him. And finally, Managing Director of Technology Eddie Hill's retirement from LaPorte ISD concludes a notable 15-year tenure as the Director of Technology, during which he spearheaded numerous innovations and advancements in educational technology. His dedication and expertise have played a pivotal role in modernizing the district's technological infrastructure and enhancing learning experiences for students and educators alike. Thank you, Eddie. And finally, longtime LaPorte High School head football coach Jeff LaRoe was recently inducted to the Greater Houston Coaches Association Hall of Honor. He was introduced by current head football coach Kevin Bernithi. Under LaRoe's leadership, the Bulldogs captured 3 district championships, made the playoffs, or made 12 postseason appearances, including 2 trips to the state quarterfinals. He also owns more playoff wins than any coach in LaPorte history with 15. Congratulations, coach.
She's also an amazing teacher.
Yes, it was.
I had the opportunity to share a classroom with him. It's great.
You know, without being cheesy, that was a kind of an aha moment for me. There's a lot of people in this room that have had a hand in me being in this seat to begin with. Ms. Regan leaving, Coach LaRoe obviously was a big influence. Ms. Angelo. Yeah, good to see everybody in here. All right, while everybody's making musical chairs. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I can't read my own handwriting. We have one more person to recognize this evening. She is our Rookie Teacher of the Year from Lomax Elementary School, Farzana Mohammed.
Yeah, don't worry about it again,
Stars.
Just stay like this. There we go.
All right, board, we will move to item 8, public comment. The board will now hear those who wish to make comment or who have completed and returned the public comment participation request. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act and board policy. Complaints or concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Mr. Shoppy, do we have any registered speakers?
No, sir, Mr. President.
All right, please note for the record, we do not have any registered speakers, so we will move on to item 9, administrative reports. Dr. Jackson?
Thank you, Mr. President. Board, you have a copy of my superintendent's report, and in the sake of time, I won't read that publicly tonight. I'll ask that you just could take that into your consideration. But what I would like to do is certainly recognize and present to the board some administrative changes and new hires tonight. And I'd like to begin with Mr. Lucio Rodriguez. Would you please stand, Lucio? Let's give him a hand. Mr. Rodriguez is currently the principal at Baker and is moving to Lomax Junior High, so we're looking forward to his leadership over there. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Miss Tracy Greenwood, let's give her a hand. Miss Tracy Greenwood is currently the principal at Lomax Elementary. She will be the principal at James H. Baker 6th grade campus next year, and we're looking forward to your leadership. David Jason Mac McConnell, please stand. Mac is returning to the LaPorte Independent School District where he has worked before. We're proud to announce that Mr. McConnell will serve as the new principal of LaPorte Junior High. Currently, he serves as the principal for the alternative education in Dickinson ISD. Mr. McConnell has served for 30 years in education, 25 of which he served the LaPorte community as a teacher, coach, and assistant principal, and associate principal at the high school. So we're very, very excited to have Coach Mack returning, and we're looking forward to your outstanding leadership at LaPorte Junior High. Let's give him another hand and welcome. Mack, do you have a guest that you'd like to introduce, sir?
I have my amazing, beautiful wife.
The real boss.
Miss Jessica Rose, please stand. Let's give her a hand. Jessica Rose currently serves as the assistant principal at James H. Baker 6th grade campus. Ms. Rose has been an educator for 21 years, with 6 of those being here in the Porte ISD as an assistant principal at both the elementary and secondary level, and associate principal at the secondary level at Lomax Junior High at one time. She's also served as a principal, an instructional coach, and content specialist, and classroom teacher. We're happy to have you back in LaPorte, and we're excited about your leadership at Lomax Elementary. Jessica, do you have any guests you'd like to Okay, thank you.
She says no.
Miss Lisa Basile, let's give her a hand. Miss Basile has served the last 3 years at Bayshore Elementary, and she is moving to lead College Park next year. We're excited about your leadership at College Park. Let's give her another hand. New principal to our fold, Miss Tammy King. Let's give it up to Tammy King. The Porte ISD is proud to announce that Miss Tammy King as the new principal at Bayshore Elementary. Ms. King is a 25-year veteran educator who joined the Porte ISD over 15 years ago. She has proudly served at several campuses, most recently as the assistant principal at Bayshore Elementary. Prior to joining LaPorte ISD, she was a special education teacher, dyslexia interventionist, and assistant principal in Pasadena ISD, and we're excited about her leadership at Bayshore next year. Ms. Tammy King. Ms. King, do you have guests you'd like to recognize?
I know, but they're here with our heart and soul.
There you go. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Brad Rogers. Would you please stand, sir? With the retirement of Eddie Hill, it is with great pleasure that we announce the hiring of Mr. Brad Rogers as LPISD's Managing Director of Technology. Brad brings over 25 years of experience, 16 years in LaPorte ISD in the K-12 system, including significant roles here and in Pasadena ISD. In his current role as LPISD Systems Administrator, he has occasionally led all the critical IT operations in the absence of Mr. Hill, the IT Director. Brad, we're excited to have you here, and we're looking forward to your leadership. Do you have guests you'd like to recognize?
I have my wife Shannon and my daughter Laura. Laura's going to be a freshman this year.
All right. Congratulations to all our new hires, and so we're excited about it, and that will conclude my comments this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. We'll now hear a STEM update. I'm drawing reinforcements.
After the last board meeting, just like.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Abram, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, and I'm excited to talk to you tonight about our STEM, the work that we have in Porte ISD for STEM. I've been blessed and honored to lead some of the work that we've been doing with STEM, and I'm excited to talk to you today about all the great things that we've done. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we're going to do it the old school way. Back in, when I was first hired 3 years ago, Dr. Jackson charged us with development of STEM initiatives here in the district, and he said that he wanted some very specific things when we talk about STEM here in the district. We wanted to create opportunities for STEM learning for all students at every campus in the elementaries, beginning in the 22-23 school year. We wanted to create a program that was inclusive, so that it was allowing all students to have an opportunity to participate. We wanted to ensure that the program was sustainable, and we wanted to create a program that we in LaPorte could be proud to call our own. I feel like we have done all those things. When we began the development of this program, we started with crafting a vision of what this would be. And we believe that STEM would open doors for each student through interdisciplinary learning rooted in critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. By developing both innovative and practical skills through varied problem-solving applications, we will prepare each student to be resilient and ready for any challenge they will face in a future global society. So with those as the foundation of the work that we endeavored or embarked upon, we have developed several initiatives along those lines. We have developed and implemented STEM academies on every elementary campus serving all of our students. We have created makerspace carts for all early elementary students in pre-K through 1 to experience early learning and early tinkering, if you will, with STEM. We have developed a partnership with the University of Houston Clear Lake to allow our students to experience STEM learning with Project Launch. We have increased our robotics participation at all levels, and we are implementing Project Lead the Way in our junior high campuses in the fall of 24, and we are implementing the complete programming and software development program of study in our CTE pathways at the high school. So some really great things. But I haven't done this alone. I've had a great team, as you mentioned, reinforcements behind me. So I want to introduce the masterminds behind all of the work. Shannon Fanning, and she is our STEM facilitator in the STEM academies at the elementary. Michael Newman is our lead STEM teacher and the guru behind all things robotics. And Marissa Lopez is our coordinator for CTE. So they're going to speak to you a little bit tonight about their portion. So I'm going to turn this over to Shannon and let her tell you all about STEM academies.
Hello, well, I'm excited to report that we do have active STEM labs in every single campus, and that is all of our elementary campus, and they're available for both campus-based and district STEM lessons. We are currently teaching STEM lessons to all students in grades 2 through 4 throughout the year as STEM units and interactive units that the kids complete at school. They utilize the engineering design process with fidelity during these STEM units, so it's really neat to see what they come up with, because even though I feel like I repeat these lessons, I'm not, because every kid has a unique way of looking at it, and I'm wowed every single day with how they can apply the engineering design process. As part of our initiative, we are integrating literacy into our STEM units. So we start with a book, and we do a lot of writing with how they're solving the problems and what they would like to improve. So it's critical thinking through writing. The most exciting thing for me is that we have 21st century skills developed right in the lessons. So when the kids are in there, they're engaged, they're collaborating, they're communicating with each other, they're cooperating with each other, and that's probably my greatest takeaway, is seeing these kids that have struggled with that grow from one year to the next. Having it being our second year of STEM, it's been really a phenomenal, just trying to watch them grow from this. Now we also implemented Makerspace. So Makerspace really is different than our STEM units because they're short design challenges, and those can be completed in one class period or one class, like maybe center. We do integrate those into STEM lessons. So if there is a skill that I want them to try out and honestly fail at before they actually do the STEM unit so they can learn and grow, they'll have the Makerspace kind of show them where they need to go for the larger unit. So we start out with Makerspace with all of that. We also have Makerspace carts. So we are kind of tasked with making these Makerspace carts. They're with reusable, non-consumable elements, and they're designed so that those kids can actually start building and building with purpose. And when I started working with preschool kids at the beginning of last school year, the kids started with towers, 6 weeks later I rotated back around and they were building ice skating rinks. I mean, that's how effective these, just putting the tools in the hands of these kids has been. Our curriculum allows teachers to easily integrate the engineering design process. And as we move forward with new science teaks in the school year that is tasking our teachers to do that, we've developed a really great innovative way to make this easy, simple, and most of all, exciting for kids to learn and apply what they're learning.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you. I just want to be in her class. Next, I want to introduce Michael Newman. He has really taken the lead on boosting our robotics programs at all levels, and I'll let him tell you a little more about that.
All right, so our elementary robotics program, it's not just for elementary. We have a total of 12 teams that go from elementary to junior high level. And with these teams on each campus, our robotics clubs are happening because of our teachers that are in the classrooms. They volunteer their time and they take hold of this and they gather their students, and each week they meet, they learn different robotic skills, they learn coding, programming, and it gives them a chance to kind of collaboratively work together and ultimately work as a team to achieve the greatness that they're going to be doing in our fall. And here's some pictures of that. But then our fall, we have our inter-district competition. So this is where everything they've been doing in their club time comes in hand because they start competing. And when they're competing, they have different programming challenges. They participate in innovative projects that will help our community and give them that real-world experience. And then in the spring, we have our legacy competition that we have here in LPIC is our BattleBots. And our BattleBots competition is different from our inter-district competition because they're given the reign to create a robot and battle each other. So this is the chance where they can fight one another and it's okay. But this is where they're free to design their own robots, compete against one another, and then learn from our community experts about different robot designs, where they get to answer questions and have like kind of one-on-one interview process. And then this year we really had a huge support for our partners in education. They made a lot of our events possible. We could not have done it without them, with their sponsorships, their volunteers. I mean, we had an outpour of volunteers for our BattleBots competition, so we can't thank them enough, and to the community for supporting us. And our big plans for our robotics program next year is really focusing in on our robotics coaches and giving them the professional development that they need to be successful, but also to enhance our overall experience for our students that are involved in our robotics program. Because as a result of our robotics program, what we've been able to see is that our students are exhibiting high levels of confidence, and they're able to improve their critical thinking skills, but most of all, they are able to think outside the box, and they're not stuck in a little bitty box.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. It's been very exciting to watch him grow that program and really capitalize on the great things that we have with robotics. Next, I want to tell you about Project Launch. This has been our fledgling year, partnering with the University of Houston Clear Lake to provide mini courses, if you will, for our 4th and 5th grade GT students. Students have attended the campus 5 visits in a semester, and then culminating in a showcase of the work that they've done in those classes. The model has been very project-based learning. The students have been involved in STEM-associated classes like coding, graphic novels, which sounds like writing, but it was digital, so it's animated graphic novels. It's pretty fun. They've had an environmental science class. If you've ever had the opportunity to see the outdoor science lab there in the Manila building, that's pretty amazing stuff out there. A fine art class, game design, and animation with clay and certain things. So it's been really fun to watch the students enjoy and learn in a different setting. They're pretty excited. They got college, lanyards and badges and college certificates. They thought it was a really great inaugural year. So we're excited about what they get to do next year as well. But the other thing that's been really great about Project Launch is that our students have been able to learn with their peers across the district. So they're meeting friends in other schools that they wouldn't have the opportunity to meet. So we're looking forward to continuing that program next year. 4th and 5th graders again. 5th and 6th graders. Pardon me. 5th and 6th graders. And we got a whole new set of courses. So the students who were there this year will have a whole new set of courses to learn from. So we're excited about it. So stay tuned about what those are going to be. And then I want to pass this over to Melissa, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the expansion project we've managed in high school.
All right, good evening. So As I had, I think, given you all a heads up a few months ago, we are expanding STEM at the junior highs. And so next year, we're excited to launch a couple of Project Lead the Way Gateway courses. And those courses are automation and robotics and computer science. So this will be open to our 7th and 8th grade students. So it's an elective option, it's not a requirement. So students who choose to take these courses, they will take one course one semester and the second course the second semester. So it is a paired set of courses that span an entire school year. These courses do follow a project-based learning model. And we are very fortunate to be able to fund these courses via Project Lead the Way Gateway grants. So we received two $20,000 grants, one for each junior high, and so that will help cover all startup expenses for this program, curriculum, teacher training, supplies, etc. And so really the goal of implementing STEM, Project Lead the Way courses at the junior high is just to expand STEM. We have some great things going on at STEM, especially with the academies and at the high school, but there is a gap. So this is an opportunity of growth for us, and so we're hoping to just grow in that area. And really it's fun to prepare our students for what's to come at the high school. So we offer some STEM programs at the high school, and so students who are taking these courses at the junior highs, they will just be that much more prepared once they get to us at the high school. On that note, at the high school, we did implement a complete programming and software development program this school year. So in the past, we have offered a couple of AP computer science courses, but as of this year, we do have a complete 4-year course sequence. So if we have students who are really interested in computer science, they have a course sequence their 9th through 12th grade year. And the reason for building this program out is really to keep up with the labor market needs. When we look at the labor market data, there is a need for careers in this program. So we want to, of course, as always, make sure that the programs we are offering here in LaPorte are in line with those labor market needs.
Thank you, Marissa. Great stuff at the junior high. We're excited to see how that program is going to grow. So what are we going to do next? Lots and lots of plans, lots and lots of ideas. We are really hopeful to continue to grow our STEM academies each year and continue to grow the experiences that our students participate in at the elementaries. We have added a STEM Explorations Lab course at James Baker 6th grade center next year, so that means that students will now have sequenced STEM experiences all the way through high school, starting in elementary. So we're really excited about that opportunity. We have plans in place to capitalize on some of the great work our campuses are doing with STEM nights and try to host some things district-wide. So more to come on that. And really just trying to build capacity for STEM education and how to integrate makerspaces and all the different makerspace or STEM labs that our teachers have access to within their regular curriculums. So additional robotics support is coming, more lessons and more competitions, and we're just really excited about what we're offering next year and the growth that we're continuing to see. So I couldn't do it without this team, so I just kudos to them and all of their hard work, and I thank them for all that they do. And that is STEM in LaPorte. We're excited.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Danny, can I say something? Yeah. I would like to say the robotics, teachers who do the robotics, I mean, they get a stipend, but that stipend is not worth staying once a week and all day on Saturdays for many months. So kudos to those teachers, because they're really doing it because they love the students and they love what they do, not the $500 that they're getting for it. So that was all.
Yes.
So I was excited to see that First Robotics has come back to the high school. My husband and I were the first sponsors of the robotics team here at LaPorte, and back in 2000 through 2005, something like that. So I was super excited to see that, and I know Shannon was working really hard to get all of that going, and I appreciate that because it makes my heart happy to see it coming back.
Dr. Roman? I didn't see you step up.
Yes, sir. All right. Good evening. President Hanks, Board of Trustees, Dr. Jackson, here to provide our monthly update as it relates to bond and safety elements here in Porte ISD. So a couple out-the-gate images. I think I love this image as you look at it because it really kind of sets the tone. This is looking into the south of the district. And as we preach so many times to you guys and other stakeholders about that athletic village and that community that this stadium is bringing to us, and you kind of get that idea there. This is another look at it. All the concrete work on the stadium is coming really to a complete point to where all we have left is pouring the walkways in the second level of the concourse area, as well as the staircases. All that will have concrete plates on it that will set there. So when you walk into the second level of the stadium, you will be walking on concrete to then set on your actual feet. You can see the staircase systems are in place. The stairs are starting to go up, as well as the ADA component for the switchbacks and the different things there. Press box has really taken shape. They're getting very close to starting to put on the exterior on that, the metal paneling and the other things that will go there. You can start to see some of the MEP is being pushed out. So what that is all the mechanical and the electrical. Once you get the frames up, you're able to go in there and redefine and get that very laid out as we go and get more in depth with what we're trying to do there. And then they're putting the framing up. You can see those studs there pretty frequently throughout the entire facility. And then next week they'll be starting to put the roof decking on it. The good thing with the rain we've had, while in some cases of the stadium it stopped us a bit, there's areas because we've got things up and covered that the gentlemen are still able to work. So on an average day we average about 115 workers out there. Even when we're raining we're at 100, so they're still getting things done. And we've got just an incredible construction manager in Telpson and Gallagher that's really pushing the envelope. So we've not lost any time as it relates to weather. They're able to stack other items on to get us caught up if we lose a day here and there. So but continue to pray, as we get into hurricane season that we don't have any of that. But here tonight, just giving you some pictures there to your left. As you see, there's the closer look at the studs. I put that there because it's wind rated. You got to remember all of our items meet hurricane thresholds. All of that is certified and rated throughout. This is just a visual as you stand on the concourse in the center looking up at the press box. And to the right, you can see some of the HVAC equipment and all of that is already being put in place inside the press box area. CMU, the concrete masonry unit. So what you'll see there, interior-wise, that will be brick, but will be CMU, so you'll see that will be painted later. But on the exterior, those kick-out items will be bricked up, so they'll look real nice, and you've seen images there. Concession and the spirit store. So to the middle there, the picture is one of the restrooms. We obviously are ADA approved. There's a family restroom in the center, and then you've got male and female throughout the stadium. A picture of the concourse view, and then the bottom right there is a picture of the spirit store. So when you're on the concourse level, there's that spirit store that that you can go in and buy different things. That overlooks into the press box and out to Texas Street when you're in that spirit store. So it's a pretty unique facility or piece of the facility. Some other images, I was able to get one of the guys to go up and take some pictures from the stairs. So what you see in the middle there is if you're walking up to the second level of the bowl, you can kind of see the opening. It's kind of tough to see, but the opening into the staircase that leads you into the press box. But you can see the handle rails are starting to go up. Those airplane wires will start to go in there. They're going to start to close all that in very soon. The top right picture is an exterior view looking from Texas Street at the stadium. I put that up there because you see those panel walls coming down, those same kind of stud look there. That'll be metal mesh that will close all that in. So everything will be closed in at the end. So when you're inside that concourse at the end, it'll be a good feeling and a good setup as it goes. Visitor side, really everything that you've seen on the home side, they're just mimicking now on the visiting side. So they're building out the restrooms. You can see some of those different batteries there for the restroom piece as they're doing that, as well as the CMU. All the the block's going to go up, and then later that will be wrapped with the brick that coincides with the current Bulldog Centroid. As far as the bowl, new this week, you've got the raker beams that went up in the bowl, right? So the bottom bowl, and you can see that. Obviously, that's going to be later with the bleacher system that's going to go into that piece. And then another viewpoint, if you look to the right and left of the bowl, kind of exterior picture there, that is restrooms on top, and you can start to see some of the restroom components going in. So again, that will be blocked up, that will be closed off in the end, and you'll have brick on that exterior there in that piece. We will begin framing out the south scoreboard. Literally 2 days, well, really started yesterday, early in the week. What is today? Tuesday, right? Yesterday, they started to frame out the main scoreboard that's on the top of the Bulldog Professional Development Center, and then now you'll see the frame go up in the south. That is our old scoreboard. We're reusing that, if you recall. So we did not have to purchase that. All we're doing is framing and putting that up because that was still under warranty from a purchase in our last stadium. I think the biggest progress when you drive out there is the development center. I mean, it's taken shape very quickly. If you look at some of those design pictures that we've seen, you can really see what it's going to look like. And you can see the staircase and that spine when you walk in, and you can see straight through into the stadium. But the foundation was complete. The framing continues as of today. That's literally today. You can see where the scoreboard and the video board is being framed out. And they poured the mechanical yard there in the bottom right. You can kind of see some of that concrete. So that's ongoing. They're very close. They're about 2 weeks out before all the steel will be done. They won't be doing that anymore. They're going to start the roofing concepts and so forth. Moving on. Any questions on Bulldog Stadium development? Okay. Moving on, this is just a quick recap. I've given an overview last month when we talked a little bit about Lomax. It's moving along. We are now in full design development phase, so we're really tightening down. The scope has been identified. You've seen that. We talked a little bit about, obviously, the renovation piece to the auxiliary gym and that extra gym that they have now. It's a current competition gym. Removing those bleachers, putting new bleachers in, refinishing the floor, totally repurposing the auxiliary component, and that will become fine art spaces, and then building the actual competition gym that will set exterior outside. Kind of in this picture you can see, we kind of looked at that as far as proposed. Next piece is to really dive into what is it going to look like, what is the designs, what does carpet look like, and so forth. So we're moving very fast. Ideally speaking, if you go back here, construction documents, which means we're at a point now we're ready to get it put together to go out to bid and get pricing, to put a GMP roughly November, October-ish. Put that in front of you for your blessing, and then we'll start. So the good thing with the competition gym itself, we can do that while the kids are in school. It does not affect anything. The renovation, we'll have to have some things. We'll work on that, but we'll be kind of rerouting the school as we do that. So this will move fairly fast. It's not a huge project, and the freestanding gym helps us as far as timeline.
Dr. Bromley, just a point of order for the board. The current LaPorte Junior High gym that we see is a pretty good mirror image of what we're going to be doing at Lomax.
So it'll match about 700 or so spectators. It's pretty much identical, give or take, as to what they have at LPG.
It'll just be freestanding.
That's right, not attached. Any questions on LXJ? Moving on to LaPorte High School, it's become now a piece of our planning and schematic design. That's where we're still building out the scope of this. Obviously, there's some areas that we're targeting, and I put that up there for you to just kind of see. If you look where it says 9,200 square feet, that's the entry point of the high school. So if you stood at that number, you'd be looking at the LP and where you walk into the building. So the point of concern of the area that's not been touched in recent or past bonds, whatnot, is that main corridor area. When you walk into the facility, you look at the lobby area there. Obviously, you've got the courtyard with the tree, you've got the counselor suite, you've got some area where the nurse and some special education classes are, and it even goes into the courtyard. One of our main goals not only is to beautify this, but it's also to take away the problems we have with the water. So we're working to get these things in front of Dr. Jackson to eventually to get in front of you as to what that looks like. And again, attach a dollar figure to what this is as far as what we're going to do with it. So there'll be more to come on this project, but this is ideally speaking kind of what we're starting to look at as we look into this project.
So again, board, just for your information, we're having some professionals to come out and give us some best case scenarios, like an arborist. Am I correct?
Correct.
To take a look at the tree that's in the courtyard area. When it rains, it floods, and we had a major flood just a couple of weeks ago now. And so we're going to have some conversations about what must be done to offset that. We don't want to have to deal with that every time we have heavy rains in this area. The entire counseling suite takes on water. The staff and faculty room takes on water on that other side of the courtyard. So we're going to have some conversations about, are we ready now to deal with an issue that has kind of been a sacred cow for all the right reasons, because there's a lot of emotion tied to that. There's a lot of heartstrings tied to that for all the right reasons. We want to be sensitive to that whole process, but we also want to keep the board apprised of what we're trying to accomplish and beautify and fix those problems. because we can't keep throwing good money after bad. We're trying to repair it, but we've not taken care of the flooding issue.
Not to put you on the spot, Dan, but do you remember in 2014 why we didn't renovate this one small part of the high school and we did the rest of the school? Anybody can answer that. Do we remember why? Sorry.
Well,
Dan?
I believe it was a part of the original scope, but was later removed from what I asked why. I don't know.
It was supposed to be done?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was pieces of it, I know, when you look back at the pre-planned models before they get into starting to put dollar figures to things, it was a part of it.
Really makes no sense.
But,
Sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Sorry, speaking of dollar figures, if there is, obviously not tonight, but if we could get just an idea of, with the extra expenses and stuff that have gone along with the repairs and everything, since even 2014, like if we have an idea of what our estimated damages and stuff have been done during that time, I'd just like to see those numbers. That would be fantastic.
we can run our work order system and try dollar figures.
Perfect, thank you.
Dr. Baldwin, we had a ceremony there this past year with a family. The tree was dedicated towards. They were made aware of the situation we had with flooding, and they were totally okay with us tearing it down. Somebody proposed the idea of cutting it and making like a wood carving of the trunk, and they really seemed to love that idea. And so, I don't know, instead of looking at arborists, maybe we can find somebody, an art person that can carve it, and we put it somewhere else.
Absolutely, and working with our architect, obviously Dr. Jackson and I met with him a week ago just to talk about that very thing, even blending that into the design and on the wall work. I don't know what it looks like, but absolutely. There will be some sort of piece of that, whether it be a bench or a monument, that will be a part of the new piece of the high school. Okay? Any questions there? All right. And then very quickly, as it pertains to safety, just a couple updates. A while ago, I spoke a little bit about us engaging in a partnership with Region 4, being a part of their active shooter preparedness program. I'm very excited about this. And the safety network, schools are scared to be a part of this, I'm going to be honest with you, because they come and audit your systems and really rate you as it relates to, are you prepared for an actual active shooter? It's one thing to have a campus improvement, not campus improvement thing, an SRP district plan, but it's another thing to, live some of that, whether that's through a drill or whatnot. So this summer we'll be engaged in an active shooter audit with Region 4. They just started a safety piece, the department, this last year, so they're kind of new to this world. Harris County Department of Ed, Safe and Secure Schools, that's who we've always used. So we'll be doing this piece with them. There'll be more that will come to you. In the end, if we meet certain measures, we'll actually get tagged as a active shooter prepared district and whatnot. They'll come and present to us and all of that. I feel very confident in where we stand as it relates to our programs with this, but it's just an FYI.
Does this audit include the full reenactment, like what we
It won't do an actual full cycle drill. We'll do an internal one.
Okay.
My plan with the city is to do that every other year with Johnny and them. But that is something, yes.
Yeah, I know that's a big tackle, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's excellent. I mean, it's you look at that and go, yeah, we got some work to do, right?
Do we know how many districts performed something like what we did last year?
It's far and in between, I'll be frank. In my past districts, I was only part of one other district, and it was probably about 9 years ago that we did something like that, because a lot of people don't want to take the time. We are blessed with a great city. Johnny Morales and his team, we're so connected to them, and they're so involved not only with the city piece, but with us. So that was a huge undertaking. We did a full tabletop exercise with more G.I. Joes than I've ever seen in my life. There's just a lot going on in there. So no, it's not very often, because it's hard to get all the manpower together. You need more than just the school district, right? But that is something our plans is to do every other year for a district to meet with the city. But they will also be picking up our 3-year audit. So that'll be coming to you probably in August for review. We will be moving away from Harris County Department of Ed. Not that they've done a bad job. I just think it's important to get fresh people that look at it a little different. I know that was a request of yours a while ago, so that's something I'm excited about. Part 2 tonight for approval from you is to extend our current SRO contract with the city at the same rate. So we will continue that with your blessing for 2 more years at that same pay. A couple of things regarding that to note. This last year, going back last year, we met with the city officials, Dr. Jackson and myself, trying to gain more SROs to not do the paid component and do more full-time. But they're not at a place staffing-wise to give us more, so we felt best interest was to just continue with what we had as far as that. Because when we write a new contract with them, unfortunately, that price is going to go up. There's just no way around it. I mean, that was done in 2020. So, any questions?
Oh, sorry, board, anybody?
Thank you.
Our board, if you'll get your notes out. We were going to move to item 10, our consent agenda. Russell, you ready? Yes, sir. All right. Consent agenda. A, determine and approve any consent agenda items. B, approve board meeting minutes. 1, regular board meeting minutes, April 9th, 2024. Special board workshop meeting minutes, May 7th, 2024. C, receive principal's report. 1, Early Childhood Center. 2, Bayshore Elementary. 3, College Park Elementary. 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. 6, LaPorte Elementary. 7, Rizzuto Elementary. 8, Lomax Elementary. 9, Baker 6th grade campus. 10, LaPorte Junior High. 11, Lomax Junior High. 12, LaPorte High School. 13, Viola DeWalt High School. D, notice of employment of professional staff. E, receive human resources report. F, receive
E, sorry.
what did you need?
E.
The human resources?
Yes.
F, receive financial reports for March 2024. G, receive quarterly investment report. H, approve attendance waiver for April 29th, 2024. I, approve budget amendment. J, approve 2024-2025 Harris County Department of Education Academics and Behavior Schools, ABS, East Interlocal Contract. K, approve instructional material allotment, IMA, expenditures and purchases for Proclamation 2024. L, approve learning acceleration support opportunities, LASSO, Cycle 2 Services Agreement. M, approve memorandum on understanding of juvenile justice alternative education, JJAEP. N, approve partnership agreement in communities and school model traditional programs. O, approve purchase of armored car services and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate, execute contract. P, approve purchase of audio-visual equipment for LaPorte ISD boardroom. Q, approve purchase of backflow replacements for LaPorte Elementary and LaPorte Junior High. R, approve purchase of boiler replacement of Lomax Junior High. S, approve purchase of chiller replacement for College Park Elementary. T, approve purchase of contracted painting services. Mason. U, approve purchase of new seating at LaPorte High School auxiliary field. V, approve school resource officer, SRO, for law enforcement services and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate and execute a contract extension. W, approve purchase of a 3-year web filtering subscription.
Pull, please.
I'm running down the lines.
Sorry.
Mr. Sharpie?
All right, consent items, A, B, 1 and 2, C, 1 through 13, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, U, V.
Okay. Can we get a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Thompson. Call for the vote. It is unanimous. Thank you, board.
How'd that feel, Karen?
All right. So we'll now hear discussion on our first item, E, receive human resources report. Mason?
I just had one question. I mean, when you look at the high school numbers, it's always really high, but 340, and then last month it was in the 300s. I went back to December and it was in the 100s. Is there a reason why they're so high, and is that normal for a school our size?
Well, oftentimes what we'll do is go back to last year at the same time to see if we were about the same, and last year we had about 324, and I'll just tell you a couple of things. In the spring, we have a lot of sports and extracurriculars that go on. I know we had our FFA up here. I know that there's all of those wonderful events go on during this time period of the spring. And so there was that. We have a couple people on leave. So this approved leave, like family medical leave or things like that. some professional development that took place, planning and things like that. I will say there's a couple of things that were some extra support. I'm looking at the paras for student needs. There were a couple of things for that. But really, that's kind of what we're looking at for April. Last year was the same. You're right, some months are a little lighter than others, just depending on what the needs are. In the fall, we don't have quite as many extracurriculars. It's not that where all the sports kind of converge in the springtime. So.
And it's not just sports, it's,
You know what? I should have said that.
what happens is when it spikes is when it's performing fine arts and sports at the same time, and FFA.
While activities, all of your other math contests, all that kind of stuff that all happens during the
Yes,
school
I should
day.
clarify that. It's all co-curricular, extracurricular things that the kids are involved in and do take place during the school day for
And it takes more of a toll on a secondary campus than it ever would on an elementary.
And on an average day when we have teachers out, are we filling all of these subpositions?
We're not filling all, but I will say that it's better than right after COVID when we were really struggling.
Not to put you on the spot, do you know what the sub pay is for a non-certified
Well,
sub?
actually, I do. So right now, it says, good questions. It's at $95, and so we're looking at some of those pieces and maybe looking, we always look to see if we're competitive. I mean, we're competitive, but we could look to kind of increase some things or just consider that. But they can go up to a level of 125 with service, some days of service, and then they can go up to 175
Based on how long
as
they've
well.
been in the district working, right?
Yes, and then long-term subs make $280 a day because they're doing lesson planning and calling parents and things like that. So those are the rates for our subs. But we're always looking to make sure that we're being competitive and being fair to our subs.
On a campus level, are principals approving absences? Is that how that works? I mean, I have a hard time believing that we're denying if you want to leave. I mean, is that, are we denying anybody if they want to leave? I mean, is that, I know denying is not the right word.
Person leave off at one time.
I've
You don't
known
have so
people
many
that have been
persons leave off at one
denied,
time.
yeah. They can't have off like the Friday before a Monday holiday. and
We
things like
really
that.
try to do that,
Yeah.
but here's the deal. You can do that as a leader, as a campus leader, but who's to say I'm not sick? And so, you know, if I put in a personal day, a principal can deny that because there's already 25 people out.
That's what I was
But then
asking,
a person can just say, you know, I'm just gonna call in sick. Am I right, principals? And I think that happens a lot.
Well, we don't want to encourage, we don't want to try to strong arm them if they have the flu.
I just think that happens.
Yeah.
And because they just log in, it makes it super easy to do that. Back when you used to have to call your principal and tell them you weren't coming,
Yeah.
it was a lot harder.
Just to clarify, one of the things we see for fill rates is when people, for whatever reason, maybe they get sick at the last minute, their child does, well, we have a hard time filling those
That's
jobs
right.
if it's 6:45 or 6 or things like that. Those
And then
are
the
ones we
campus
see.
just handles that
They
internally.
do a great job of making sure it's filled with maybe campus doing other things and shifting things around. They're very flexible that way, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And to say that, another thing on that is that they were not, teachers weren't coming out of their, doing ARDS on their conference period. They were coming out of the classroom to do ARDS.
Right.
And so subs were having to fill in for that. And that's a hardship.
That's absolutely.
That was it, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Any other questions, board?
Nope.
I seek a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
All right, call for the vote. It is approved unanimously. Thank you. We'll move to item T, approved purchase of contracted painting services. Mason.
Guess I'm the only one with questions. Was this for a specific paint job, or were we just vetting vendors and then they're going to give us a bid on that later?
So no, so there's not a lot of painting vendors in the co-ops that we are aware of.
Yeah,
So
3. We awarded all 3, yeah.
So, no, that's a part of the RFP. So we put an
Okay.
RFP out to be able, it's a multi-award deal. So what's going to happen is we're going to be able to use them, but 50K and over will still come back to you as a board, right?
Okay.
So we put an undetermined amount on there. It was more about the quality to get people to come to us because those vendors that we've used in the past that are on our co-ops just didn't do a very good job for us. So it was more of a protection thing. All it really does is align them.
Getting
put them
And we vet
on,
them.
right? And then when we outline, because this summer we're going to do a ton of painting and we need all 3 of those companies to
Yeah.
do that. But they'll obviously quote us out once we give them the scope and then it will come back to you if it's over that 50.
Okay, that was my question, yeah.
It was more of a piece for us to.
Making sure they had all the qualifications. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, board?
Yeah.
I seek a motion.
So moved. Second.
Call for a vote.
For Candace.
You go with who you want to go with, Candace.
Yeah, Thompson, Shafi second.
And last, we'll go to item W, approved purchase of a 3-year web filtering subscription. Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me scroll down. I know I'm not prepared. I see on here that it's based on a quantity, like this one says 7,700. So I'm assuming we have new face, sorry. I wanted Eddie to answer this one as a last roll. No, I'm just kidding. I see, so I'm assuming we have 7,700 computers in the district that this is going on. If we end up having less, are we having more, are we having to pay the extra unit price per device?
No, it's self-regulating. It's more based on our enrollment than it is devices. But no, if we go under, over, there's a grace in that. They allow us to operate.
Okay, so if we don't have 7,700, we're going to get a refund, per se, right? I know they're putting you on the spot.
That includes, that's our enrollment plus staff. That's all the users that's handled by the filter, so it includes staff, teachers, professional staff, students.
And quite frankly, I missed this on looking on the agenda, or I would have given you more heads up. But the monitor student safety, it says student protection software that looks for signs of self-harm, school violence, abuse, and other behaviors that can be harmful for students. Includes a 24/7 an hour human monitoring and phone calls for at-risk students. So if that's, this doesn't sound bad, if that student types in, how do I commit suicide, is it flagging it and sending that to somebody?
Yes, sir. So there's a piece in that, correct. There's tag words that we actually work with that vendor to put in there, and I'm not going to go to those tag words, but if that is initiated in an email while using student components, it sends that to a group of administrators, campus principal, myself, Dr. Jackson.
Okay, so it doesn't just go to the company, it goes to us too?
Correct.
Okay.
The on-call component is, we're able to call and engage with them if it's something to get more information as to where it occurs or whatnot.
Okay.
Sure.
I was just checking. I mean, it's $50,000. I mean, that's a lot, so I was just curious. Perfect. That's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
I didn't know that moved up and down either until just now. That's interesting.
The first person that used it. Oh, go figure. They got to know, yeah. So any other questions, board? No. All right, I seek a motion.
Make a motion. Darn it. Second.
Second. Mason, call for a vote. Unanimous. Thank you, board. We'll now move on to item 11, action and/or discussion items. A, budget and finance update.
Handing out bonuses this year to everybody? Who's got money every year?
It's up to you, right? At your discretion. Good evening. The following presentation is a follow-up to our budget workshop on May 7th. And this presentation was also sent to you yesterday afternoon for review. So our agenda tonight is going to review our tax rate overview, our historical data, our fiscal year 24 general fund estimated and ending balance, our fiscal year 25 general fund estimated budget options, our compensation plan, and also our cost saving options. So as we have discussed many times before, our current tax rate, it is made up of two different buckets. So we have our M&O side, which is 0.6920. That's our maintenance operation. So that is only for funds for our annual budget expenses. And then we also have the second side, which is our other bucket is our INS rate, and it's 0.2819. That's our interest and sinking fund to pay for our debt service, for our principal and our interest for the bond, all the bonds that the district has ever had. And when you add those two together, that's what gets us to the 0.9739. So the maintenance operation is for our teacher salaries, our regular operating expenses throughout the district. So moving on, this is a chart of where what our options are for our M&O tax rate. So we're going to really kind of discuss the M&O side tonight because that is what you're going to be voting on.
to approve in June. You're gonna do the general fund, which is the M&O side, and then you're gonna do the debt service, which is the INS, and then we'll also have Frankie food service at that time. So our M&O tax rate calculation is, the first tier 1 is subject to recapture, and it is, it's from 0 cents all the way up to what is called the maximum compressed rate. That's our MCR. So the MCR is calculated by TDA, and it is dependent on our property valuations and our student data, which are our average daily attendance. And we don't actually receive this until August. So you will be voting on a budget that we don't actually know what the tax rate is until 2 months later. But that is subject to recapture. So if you go down into the tier 2 golden pennies, so they're called golden pennies because they are not subject to recapture. Recapture, as we know, is money that the district is, by law, has to send back to the state each year. So the first 4 pennies, no voter approval is required, and the districts can take those cents. Then we have 1 more penny that will bring us up to 5 cents that the unanimous board voted, and every district has that fifth. The boards have voted, y'all have voted for that. So we currently have whatever our MCR is plus 5 cents. Then we have 3 more cents that's in our golden penny tier here that you can only get through a VADR, which is a voter approved tax rate election, or disaster rate. So that you can get 3 pennies on that. Again, so a total of 8 cents that are not subject to recapture. Then you move down to tier 2 copper pennies, and they're called copper pennies because you are giving money back. And so you can go up to 12 cents, or sorry, you have 9 cents in that bucket there, where the only way you can get that is through a VADR or through a disaster rate. So as we look at our tax rate for the past, since 2018-19, so the past couple of years, you can see we have started at 1.38, and we have decreased down to our current tax rate of 0.9739, so that's a 48-cent difference. So we have, as you can see, kind of in the middle of the screen here, we have our 23-24, so that we've discussed, that's our current tax rate. For if we stay everything the same, it would be the same tax rate for our taxpayers next year. We do have the option of bringing to y'all and for y'all to adopt a disaster rate for 3 pennies. And as you see, the tax rate would still stay the same, 0.9739, because after speaking to our financial advisors with CMCO, they have done calculations to verify that our debt service side, our INS side, is very financially stable with our property valuations the way they are. And then we actually have the opportunity to give a 3-cent tax rate to our taxpayers. And so we could lower that INS tax rate by 3 cents while if the board decides to approve and adopt the 3-cent disaster rate. And we're talking about the disaster rate because in January of 2023, the tornadoes came through and they impacted many districts around us. And while they didn't physically hit our district, the timing of it and then the fact that it did occur, it happened in January. Well, that is when we are going to bid for our property insurance. And so our property insurance agents have vetted that yes, that we actually, our premiums were impacted greatly because of the timing of that, and then also just where we are. So if you adopted the lower INS rate of 3 cents and you adopted a higher disaster rate of 3 cents, it would be a 0 impact to our taxpayers. They would have the same tax rate as this next year. I also included, because there is the option also of having the 12-cent disaster rate, and that would be an increase of 9 cents to our taxpayers versus a 0%. As we go through some more historical data here, we have our average daily attendance. That's what ADA is. So we are not funded on enrollment. We're funded on how many students come to our campus every day. So as you can see, in pre-COVID, was 6,700, 6,800 students that regularly attended our classes, and each day now we're around 6,400, 6,500. So we're building it up, and as we've discussed in the past, we have we're trying really hard to bring the attendance up.
Well,
And then-
Stacy, would how much revenue would the district stand to receive if we increase attendance 5%?
I apologize, I had all my notes in here, I didn't want to miss anything. Somebody else is a bit-
Do you have an estimate of that?
You want
I believe it was right around 3.8, 3.5?
3.5 million?
Okay,
Sound about right?
yes, sir. 3.485.
So by doing nothing else other than increasing our attendance, are people that are already enrolled?
Yes.
So for the people listening at home, our funding is not dictated by our total enrollment, right? So if we have 7,200 kids that come to our school, we build and staff schools for 7,200 kids. We have transportation for 7,200 kids, everything for 7,200 kids. But we only get paid for 6481 because that's the average daily attendance, correct? So by increasing our attendance 5%, we're putting $3.5 million back into our budget in revenue. So we could reduce our deficit $3.5 million.
And we're actually giving Keith more tax funds too, because recapture is calculated on your EDA also.
So we're improving double. So it could be even more than that. Okay, so, and the reason I ask that, and I do that in this setting, is because I do want to take the opportunity to try to educate the public as best we can. And I think there's a misconception, typically when you have an event that there's a lot of absenteeism or people, especially on social media, everybody talks about and justifies their own means of why, and they think that the district is greedy. And in fact, it is of huge consequence to not having these people, not because we just want kids to be at school, which we do, but it's because of monetary implications by them not being in school. And that's not because of our policy, but the way that Texas school finances is generated. It's dictated by ADA and non-enrollment.
Yes, accurate.
So just by principles, by show of hand, how many of you had attendance initiatives and incentives this year? Because we had an entire program. And I don't do that to show off, and I don't do that to be snide in any way. I'm saying we've worked all year trying to give incentives and give electronic things out to students for coming. We even came up with, be in school each day. It's cool to be in school. We're doing those things and really trying. And so we agree with you, President Hanks, on that. We are working day and night trying to ensure that our students are coming every day. Because not only do we want the dollars that come from the state, if the kids are here, they're going to learn, and we can close the gaps that we talk about all the time. We can't close those gaps if kids are not here every day. So the ultimate goal is to get our kids here so that we can teach them and they can learn and they can move on with their lives and be successful citizens.
I had friends, several, that got perfect attendance from K through 12, never missed a day of school. And at some point, it's mind over matter. You gotta say it's important enough to do it, to get to school. And, I'm not preaching, I'm just saying, we've gotta take a hard look because we need to have a greater partnership with our parents and our students to get here. Sorry, continue.
I know it's not on your list, but on the historical data, go back 10 years on the audit report, 2018 was our peak ADA at 7210. That represented 95% of the actual total attendance. This year, that's 6481 is 90.44. Do we have any idea why? I know that's before COVID and that's before Ike, but what were we doing then? Were we still doing incentivizing kids to come to school, or is it just the COVID effect?
Dustin's got his hand raised. I'm going to tell you one thing that's going to be soapboxy. It's going to sound soapbox. But all of the administration in this district will know this is the time where they changed the rules for how they hold parents accountable for when kids no longer come to school. In the old days, when I was a high school principal, and a junior high principal, by the way, if a kid missed 3 days in a row, we could file on that kid. And when you file on the kid, the parent had to go before the judge. and say, I'm responsible for the child that I birthed and I'm raising. Well, around that time, and I'm not sure what year that was, but all of these guys are shaking their heads. They remember, and we all staunchly remember, when that law became moot. And so when that happened, attendance across the state went down. Am I right, administrators?
The justice of the peace has no power anymore to do anything, even if you filed on them, I mean, they can't do anything.
We really could put teeth into, if you're not coming, the parents, there have been times where parents were arrested. And I think it went so far to where I think people came back and said, I think we've gone too far, and then we went too far back. And so we need some legislation, in my opinion, board and board president, we need some legislation to support us. We want the kids here. I can tell you one thing, the teachers are here every day, the principals are here every day. We've got to come up with a way to where we can partner, like you said, to where kids are coming every day so we can help those kids by closing those learning gaps that so many of our kids have.
Can we just subpoena those parents to come before the board and let us talk to them?
The other thing
That was a joke for the parents watching.
The other thing too is, we have a lot of parents that make those doctor's appointments in the morning, not realizing that what time it is that we take the attendance. Yeah. And I think if we could educate them on that as well, that the time of day does matter.
All your doctor's appointments from 10:30 on.
Yeah.
Also, I just have to make a point, since we are a public school system, that we do have a partnership with our parents. We have transportation. So we have a means to bring your student to school. We just need you to get them on the bus, please.
Amen.
So moving on to property valuation, you can see this is in billions of dollars. So from 2019 up to 2024, it's increased, roughly about $4 billion. And I just had a couple of notes here. Industry makes up 54% of our tax base, whereas residential is 13%. So I think that's just a good, and commercial is 27%. The last 6% of apartments and other and that kind of thing, but I just want to kind of share that with you. So now we get to our 2024 estimated budget as of yesterday. So with this is again all on the M&O side. So the M&O tax rate is what funds the M&O side, this budget here. So as you can see, and also just this budget is not what you're going to see in your budget report, or your financial reports, because this is a budget that has been created, but we don't actually give you our final budget for you to approve, or the budget amendment to adopt it until June. So this reflects that, but it's not in your financial reports. So we have a total revenue of $105 million, and then as we kind of go down here, total expenditure of $110. So our change in fund balance is a negative $4.6 million. That's a deficit. So with our estimated fund balance of what that's actually not estimated, is what is not audited fund balance. We have a $65 million fund balance. But what we're estimating our ending would be is right at $60.7 million. 150 days is fund balance is 45, so we would still meet that criteria. So we asked that you adopt a budget last June of a deficit budget of $8.6 million, and then so where does that $4 million come from? So $3 million of that is our payroll and our non-payroll expenditures. We potentially have about $3 million in savings now, because we have really had conversations with our departments, and if it's not something you need right now, please don't buy it, kind of thing, because and they have been very good about that. So that's about a $1 million, and then payroll is just not finalized yet. Quite honestly, payroll is not finalized until June 30th, is when we have finally made our final payment. We can do estimates of that, and so these numbers, like I said, these will not be finalized until August. August is for the department saves, the non-payroll expenditures, because even after June 30th, we still get invoices, and those we're still paying bills back into the other financial year, so this year. And then we had a $1 million, our TERS payment decreased, and that was due to our M&O tax rate decrease. So from 23 to 24, our M&O tax rate dropped 28 cents. So what we gave to what our bill was for the TERS was about $1 million less, and then what we're actually going to get back is actually $500,000 less than what. And so that decrease what we had originally budgeted for that. So also, just to make the point, is this $105 million that we have up here as total revenues does not include a $1.4 million that we will be receiving as far as revenue. However, it was under formal review right now because we believe, as every district in Texas believes, that we are owed what we actually put in to be reimbursed. I apologize. Reimbursed. You would think I would know that. I say it all the time. What we feel like we should have been reimbursed. So we don't know when we're actually going to get the $1.4 million. Therefore, I did not include that in there. But
do you anticipate it before the year end?
I do not.
Of June 30th?
I truly do.
No.
So, yeah.
Shameful.
Chris said no.
Thank you, Chris. Shameful.
So that is why it's not. We will get the 1.4. Hopefully, we will get more. But I'm not going to include it this year.
Didn't we appeal?
We did an informal review, an appeal, and a formal review. We have done everything we possibly can up to this point.
Are we hopeful or cautiously optimistic that we might receive any of that back?
Yeah.
We keep Chris around for his optimism. You should get more. It's just going to be a question of how much more, and a lot of it has to do with how many school districts across the state appealed. That's part of the problem, is they got a lot of appeals, and so I think that's bogging down the system. We've not, and I'm helping a number of school districts with this issue, and I've not heard from the state yet as to when any of those hearings are likely to be. So that's why I'm not optimistic we're not going to resolve the formal appeal before the end of the school district budget year.
So moving on to...
Mr. Dodd, can I say, I'm sorry, just for clarity, on the $2 million payroll savings, how did we get to that? That's a substantial amount of money. It's a great thing, but how did we get to that $2 million?
Well, what we do is we take the pay as of, when we ran our estimates, we take it as of maybe April 15th, and then we estimate out, okay, what are the final, what is a typical payroll, and then extrapolate that out for the rest of the year, and then we have other situations that happen, but there's that payroll expenses that occur. So things that happen that we don't include in that is, we have a comp time payout. Anytime someone leaves, they get vacation payout. There's different things that we don't know until they actually occur. And so the $2 million might be $2 million. I don't expect it to be. I expect it to be less than that. But that's. And then also, once we get our audit, once we work with our audit after the year end and we're preparing everything, we have accruals and that kind of thing that happens. So we try to estimate as best as we possibly can. So no, I don't expect it to be $2 million. It was not last year.
Gotcha.
Okay, moving on. So this is our fiscal year 2025 estimated budget as of yesterday. So this looks different than what you had was presented to you on last Tuesday, because after our budget workshop, we received information. Bo Casey is our financial advisors for our 313 agreements, and so they give us a 5-year projection every year. Every May they give us a 5-year projection. So unfortunately, I received that after the workshop. Otherwise, I would have presented this to you then. However, the 313 agreements, we have 6 that are paying out right now, and they are dependent on how much we're going to get. It's depending on how much tax revenue we have, what our property valuation is. It depends on what our ADA is. It depends on, there's so many factors that depend on it. And then also, if all of these are projects, a 313 is a project that this company is building. If that project is delayed, then our payment is delayed. And so Mo Casey knows. They're the ones that are go-between between us and these different companies. And so the numbers that I had from the previous year, things have happened. And so it was about $2.7 million difference than what we had expected.
Is that subject to change any before you?
Absolutely. Yeah. What she gave me, the projections, those are estimates. And so I'm hopeful, but it's not going to be a $2.7 million increase. So if we look at this here, The first column is a no tax rate change, so that would be keeping the tax rates just as they are. So we would, and also I wanted to point out the highlighted red numbers here. So you see your local revenue, your state revenue, and your contracted service, instructional services. That's your recapture payment. Those are the things that change when your M&O tax rate changes. So I just want to highlight those so you can see what 3 pennies would do. So the first column is no disaster rate. Our second column is 3 pennies, so that would net us about $4 million. And you can see that the recapture payment goes up less than $200,000, and that's again a formulation. It's a rounding situation. And then going to the 12 pennies, it goes up, $92 to $107,000. Sorry. $92 million to $107 million on the local revenue. That's our tax part, tax revenue. But also your recapture pretty much increases the same amount. So we would net about $8 million, or 7.5 with the 12 pennies, but and then we'd also send about 7.5 back to the state recapture versus the 3 pennies where we get that whole $4 million in our district. So, changing our fund balance, you can see the 3 pennies would give us a deficit of $12.4 million. It would still get us right at the 150 days fund balance. Also want to point out also this does not include any type of raise or compensation because we don't know what you will tell me what that is. So, is there any questions on this before we move forward?
This is pretty significant from last week, and I know the board recognizes that. Is this subject to change any increase before June 30th year end?
No, this is what we're estimating for next year. So will there be changes? Yes, because a new template just came out. Yes, and so
that's what I'm trying
I will
to highlight for the board.
yes.
Yeah.
What you
It's still subject
received
to change.
in June, I will obviously give it to you beforehand, but what I put before you for you to approve in June, it might not look this way. It might be higher, it might be lower, depending on, every day we get more accurate information.
So the point of note here in this estimated budget is that even at the 3 cents, we're encroaching on the 150 days. So if we have to dig into our savings, we are now at that level if we do nothing.
When you say do nothing, you mean?
If we take the tax rate and we only move it to 3 cents, we are now at...
We're at the 150 days. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because, just for discussion, for conceptual purposes, I look at it as, I take the 145 days or whatever, take it out, and then the balance of that fund is what we have to play with if there's such a thing. Okay. So now we have the discretionary.
And just to point out, the reasons that our expenditures increased from last year to this year, from 24 to fiscal year 25 is, almost $3 million of invested funds are no longer available to us. Our insurance costs are increasing, and then also impacting everybody.
I may be reading this wrong, but how does the 150-day fund balance change depending on what the disaster rate is?
It depends on, because your recapture amount will change. And then, so your 150 days is calculated on, you take that $118 million of the total expenditures divided by 365 days times 150. So as you can see, like your recapture payment jumped from 25 million to 32 million. That's one out of another one. You still have to pay that. Yeah. So your total expenditures increased to 126 million. So that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Stacy, on the our top 3 expenditures in our budget are fixed expenses, payroll, so all of our salaries, the recapture,
yes,
and then insurance and utilities.
Those are the top 3.
So, and that's 90% of our total budget
Yes,
on
it
those
is.
3 things.
Yes.
So everything else has to be, so 90 cents of every dollar goes to those 3 expenses, and we have to pay for everything else with the dime.
And recaptures comes right under payroll.
Right.
Yes,
That's number 2.
That's number 2.
They take their cut before it gets run to school. That is correct.
That's, again, education.
Okay. So you bring us straight into our next slide here. So teacher salaries, recapture, and utilities and insurance. Those are our top three expenditures that we pay for their M&O tax. Our next topic of discussion is our teacher starting salaries review. So currently right now we're at $60,000. This was increased from $58 million back in 2023. Excuse me.
Knocking on the door.
Yes, sir.
I might go back to teaching.
58,000, I apologize. So as you can see, currently in this list of surrounding districts, we are second from the bottom. And so something to discuss and a recommendation that is up to for the board to discuss is increasing our teacher starting salary to $61,000 because that would put us right in the middle. As I said, our last increase was $58,000. Was from $58,000 in 2023. And I just included in here the districts that are going to be paying more than us. 4 out of the 5 of them have more M&O tax rate, pennies. So they have more revenue than we do at the current.
On that slide, our teacher number is 445. But if you look at the audit report, it's 465 in 2023. What's the reason for that 20 person change?
It could just be like, we have vacancies throughout the year. And so it really depends on when I pull this data. When they pulled that data was as of June 30th. Teachers, we don't want them to, but they can leave right out.
Now these, I guess, are these positions we're looking to fill, or we are not going to fill going forward? Are we not?
This is currently, I did not include vacancies on here. I did not. No, these are teachers that we have, at this point when I ran this report, these are teachers that we had in their classrooms.
Okay, but I'm just getting at, like, for budget purposes, are we anticipating hiring those positions back, or is this, we talk a lot about attrition, are we gonna like, these gonna go away?
No, they're not, no.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna let Angie
Oh,
answer
yes,
that.
yes, please.
Yes, so when we look at our staffing together with our principals and with Ms. McDowell, we just really look at our enrollment and we look at what our anticipation is, and there's times when, very few, but that we do with attrition, we just don't fill the position, or we review and see if we need it. But most of the time, our enrollment dictates that we do, need to fill positions. So for the most part, we do. But there's some programmatic changes sometimes that we don't. So I don't know. That's a little ambiguous.
So my question would be, if a third grade teacher left, did you replace the third grade teacher?
Absolutely, yes.
Fifth grade teacher left, you replace
correct.
that person?
And the only time we don't is if the enrollment is lower, like we're anticipating less kindergartners or less need for that.
And generally, that would shift to another campus.
That's correct. What we would do is just move that to a campus that's in need of that FTE, full-time employee. So, helps.
Another acronym,
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions on this slide before we move forward? So options, I listed out, 4 different options. 3 we discussed last week. A, B, and C we discussed last week, but I also included on here D because this is something that I've heard surrounding districts are doing, is doing a 3% increase where 1.5% of it would actually be salary that stays with the employee going forward, and then 1.5 would be a one-time stipend that would be paid in January for time worked up through December, and then also in June for time worked from January through May. And that total would be 1.662 million.
So only the second 1.5 is based on time work, or both are based on time work? January?
They would both be.
To be TRS eligible. So you could do that in a stipend and do it the same way for time worked?
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, so if you did a 1.5 raise in January and a 1.5 in June, you could still do a stipend and it would still be based on time worked, not a 3% raise across the board.
That's correct. That's what option D is.
Oh, there it is, sorry. Okay.
So board, as Stacy continues to share and we continue to dialogue, or you continue to dialogue, not we, but one of the things we're going to need to know tonight certainly doesn't require a vote of any sort, but we will need to know a direction that you would like for us to go back and build the budget based on raise and based on 3 or 12, right?
And also starting teachers.
And then starting teachers. Thank you.
So these are some cost-saving options that we wanted to bring forward to you that are non-payroll related. And when I say non-payroll related, that means that all employees still have their positions. No one is losing a job on through this. So our first one was, this was discussed at our budget workshop last week, so we wanted to put some numbers to that and bring that forward to you. So our monthly legislation representation fee is $27,000. We did not have a lawyer at attend our board meetings every month.
But that's one that I'm not have on there.
I agree.
Legal fees cost a lot more than that if you get into trouble.
Yes, agreed.
We've already removed the monthly legislation representation fee, lobbying fee.
So if we move forward, a travel moratorium for employees, not for students. So students would continue to travel for whatever they need to, and employees would travel with the students. That would continue, but travel that employees go to for different conferences and for, just really for conferences. And so we added up what it was last year, about $210,000 that out of the general fund.
All extracurricular and co-curricular activities would resume as they've been.
Yes, sir. Yeah, anything that's related to, accompanying a student on a trip, that would continue on. The conferences would cease. And so for this next year, if we decreased our campus and department budgets by 15%, that's $1.3 million. So part of that would be the travel, if y'all chose to not put the travel moratorium in. Summer school program changes to $253,000, instructional coaches plan $160,000. That was discussed also last week. And then we have some technology budget that can be,
we've already talked that with Sam.
We've already taken care of that, so we can move that. So that's about $59,000. So the total here is right around $2 million. So that's something also that.
And again, this board, this is my and administration's recommendations for cost savings. And again, we don't anticipate this happening forever or in perpetuity, but we're in some dire straits on some things, and we believe these are some things that do not impact the student directly, that we could do, hopefully, and, in a year or so, maybe we reinstate all of this as funding starts to loosen up.
So our next steps for the board, as Dr. Jackson has already discussed, so I would, tonight, I need to know what M&O and INS tax rate that you would like me to get a bill for fiscal year 25 budget with. Also decide on a compensation plan, and then all of that, what you tell me, I will build a budget, and we will present it to you to be adopted at our June 11th board meeting.
And keep our fingers crossed that things change as we continue to work on this budget.
I cross them every night.
Because things are changing daily, but, hopefully they're changing for the better.
Is there anything that I can?
Any questions, board?
We'll get the chair thrown at me, but I had a question on summer school, right? So I think I brought up, I like the idea that y'all proposed, but my concern is, or my question rather is, when we had COVID, do we know the percentage of laptops that did not come? Like they came back, but had to be scrapped. I heard that was an issue. Do we have a plan to mitigate that if we're going to send these laptops home for the K through K1 and 2? Or do we know, we have an expectation how many percent-wise that we might lose?
Did we have issues during COVID with return of laptops?
We had some problems with yes. After COVID and we determined how many were missing, we actually tried to go door to door, and we got most of them back. So,
Was it
Some
issue
kids
like,
left the district and
It's harder to get them if they leave.
but like the ones that were returned even, like I heard that there might have been an issue with this being damaged or, not in the best of shape after the kids had them. So is it worth it on a cost perspective to even do that summer school for K through K1 and 2 if we expect losses or laptops?
the laptops that we used, that we put out at, during COVID, were laptops that we were right on the edge of sending back to be recycled. It was just kind of fortuitous that we still had them. And so they were already on their last legs. So it'd be hard to tell whether or not the damage was from just use or them literally falling apart. They were 9-year-old laptops.
But so what are we planning to use for summer school?
For summer school, this, the laptops that are at the campuses now.
We're always gonna run the risk of that, right? The damage piece. There would be an agreement they would sign when they check them out and so forth, but there's no question that we would always run that.
It helps when the kid is returning, when the student is returning back to LaPorte ISD. It always helps because we can have conversations with parents because they'll be back in the fall. It doesn't help if somebody's moving and we lose track of them. And I don't know how many students that are attending summer school are moving over the summer. I wouldn't know that answer. We wouldn't know that answer.
I would think that population or
Right.
a huge population to kind of have a little bit. But I mean, of course, there's still going to be that.
We have a set of maybe second tier and second tier Chromebook that we use versus the highest performing laptop we already got in place.
Everything we have is out.
Now, we've got older models of laptops that we can probably work through. There's not a lot of them. We're trying to do that first replacement with the bond. We got rid and got new.
Right.
But, it wouldn't necessarily be getting the brand new ones. So we would be looking at what that looks like as far as where we are in the model.
And refresh my memory, the contract that the parent signs to check out the laptop, is there a fee associated with that for damage, or are we just running that on our insurance policy that we have on the
You can talk about
device
if it's
itself?
accidental, there's coverage.
Yes.
We do not
If it's not on purpose, if it's accidental breakage, then it's covered with the laptop. And matter of fact, we're probably going to bring another proposal to y'all next month for the next batch of laptops, and we're looking at, and I've talked with Dr. Bromley and Brad about this, getting a 5-year accidental breakage protection. So that anytime during that 5 years, if they drop it,
As opposed to what we have now is
3
years, okay. So there's not a fee for the parent to kind of put some skin in the game, okay. I thought there was.
We did start that originally, but it's really, really difficult because you have some of your population is really
financial
Yes.
hardship, so what have you.
and then so who decides who can and
Who can't, right.
They charge for like lost chargers and things like that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Eddie charged me for a lost charge. I'm never gonna let him.
Yeah, when you check out the equipment, there's an end-of-year check-in process, and if you don't have those items, they're priced, and those get a lot of fee. But there's not an upfront fee for you to get them.
Okay.
By the same token, there's no way to force them to pay.
No, there's not. We work with
There's that.
For summer school, I know this is the exception, but just to ask the question, because I know a few people who would do this. Do parents have the option to opt out of using the school equipment, but still having their students complete the courses?
Yes, some of the issues with that is, does it have the capability to match the apps and the different programs and some of that, and then the network. I mean, we have to, so the answer is yes, but we need to work on a case-by-case basis with that.
It really shouldn't be that hard because our primary productivity tool is Office 365, which is all online.
Board, we're gonna kind of just have discussion about this in terms of we need to give some guidance and direction on where we want to go, and I would propose that we start first with the the no rate increase to 3 or 12. And kind of provide some consensus there. We don't have to vote on it, but we do need to have some sort of consensus so we can give some guidance. Anybody?
I'm good with the 3 cents.
Okay. If you don't have to elaborate, that's as far as you want to go, that's good. Anybody? 3. Okay. It doesn't have to be unanimous. Everybody, I mean, I'm not.
My problem with the,
No,
we're not voting on it. My problem with the argument with the 3 cents is we're saying we're using that for an increased cost. If our increased cost was $1 million, this 3 cents is bringing in $4 million. I know we run the risk if we go out for the full 12 of getting some backlash on that, but I struggle with, we have a opportunity amongst the 7 of us to cut the deficit in half, 16 million to 8. And I struggle with not taking that opportunity, even with the risk that may come with it, to make sure that the district's in a good financial place. And I will, of course, go with whatever the board wants to do, but just want to note that I am struggling with that. And taking the 3 cents, of course, is a $4 million, that's great. I don't know, I struggle with that, so.
Duly noted. I think your point's well. I don't know that anybody in here is just saying, hey, you got valid points there, and I appreciate you being candid and putting those out there. It's not easy to do. I mean, we're in a precarious situation. The finances statewide, everybody's dealing with this topic right now, and you know, we're going to do the best we can. I just urge the board again to reflect and look, but at this point, I feel like we've got somewhat of a consensus that we're going to look for a 3% tax rate, disaster rate on that. On the point of compensation, I'll just say this, that we can never pay our educators enough. It's insulting that what we as a society have accepted as compensation for our educators, but we're not going to fix the world and society from this move. So, however, we can affect the Porte ISD, and it is my intention, I would love, even with the cost implications, of looking to at least offer a 3% raise to our staff. I know it's going to give us a hickey. It's going to be something we have to overcome, but we're going to have to overcome it anyway. But our teachers, our staff, they're enduring inflation and all the struggles that everybody else in the world they're not exempt from it. And I think that we need to do our best and then see where it goes. However, that is just my opinion, and I am not in any way saying that that's the direction we need to go. But I did want to put my thoughts out there, and the floor is open to anybody else in your comments.
I agree. 3%.
I have to disagree with the fact that doing our best is the 3%.
No,
If we could do more, we would. But I think 3% is going to get us a little bit closer to where we want to be in this situation that we're in.
That's,
Just the 3 cents.
I don't think we can.
no.
If some relief doesn't happen in the next year, you know.
And that's why I would be more in line with it, to go with Danny's points. I mean, we can never pay you enough. But if we could do a 3% stipend, and Stacey, I know I keep not being clear on how this works, but if we could make that somehow TRS eligible, which you said we could if we did it for time worked, I would be very, very much more comfortable with we're doing a 3% stipend. And you can break it up into however we need to do it to make it TRS eligible and to make sure that we're not undercutting a veteran teacher, quote unquote, by increasing the new teacher's salary. I don't want a new teacher to come in and make more than the teacher who's been working here for 3 years. Whatever we do, we need to make sure.
Yeah, that bothers me too.
Right, and that would be, I'm sorry to jump in, but that would be a 2%. And then also just remember, if you do a stipend, when they come back, when they come back, there's no, their paycheck has not changed. And TRS insurance has increased. So they will actually be getting a lower paycheck when they come back to work.
With the stipend?
With the stipend, they would.
Because they wouldn't get their money from the stipend until
January.
January.
Yes, ma'am.
If it's TRS eligible. If we didn't make it TRS eligible, then they would get the 3% on that.
Well, I mean, it really depends on how you,
I'm not saying we do it here. I mean, everybody wants to do this. So I'm just curious.
I would, my recommendation would not be give it all at the beginning, because then you have people that leave and they've just taken 3% and you have no, you can't get that back. If they know they're going to get, I'm not saying that our teachers would ever do this. However, we run the risk that if you perhaps something happens and they're gone. So that's why it's really important to make it for time worked. And also, as educators, it's very important that it is TRS eligible.
I would be in line with doing a 3% stipend raise and doing it for time worked, even if we have to not be even if the paycheck is not as great at the beginning, ultimately you're going to see a benefit. And
but then when you come back next year,
it's
you're double, and you get a 2% raise, then you didn't get a raise.
Right.
So if you.
But we're also in a financial issue here where we can't.
Yes,
we don't
and
know
no
if we
one
can
lost their
get a 3%
job, like
raise.
surrounding
No one lost their
districts
job.
are laying people off and doing rifts, and we're not. Praise the Lord.
But if you did the divided one,
The 1.5.
Option
the
D.
1.5.
yeah.
You could still do that as a stipend, right?
You could do it as a stipend, or you could do it half and half.
I mean, at least if they do the half and half, they get it, we know we get the 1.5 towards the TRS, which is.
Correct. And the stipend would also, if it was paid in January and June. Yes,
But the
ma'am.
next year, when they come back, they'd still have the 1.5.
And I also
Yes.
struggle with giving a 3% raise to the person that makes $15 an hour. They're not getting much of any raise when compared
Yes.
to someone making 60 or 80. So I struggle with that as well, and I don't know how to go about that. But I mean, I understand a raise is a raise, and people are appreciative of anything.
At this point, it's just a gesture because frankly, I don't know what kind of financial implications it's gonna have at the end of the day. But we have to do something. I know that we're all in agreement there. But
I like option D.
I do too. I mean,
I think it's the best of both worlds.
How does that work for your hourly employees? Like, you mentioned a $15 an hour.
How does that work for
If you got a 15 or hourly employee in general, how does that work to get a 1.5%?
If we would take what their salary is times 1.5, and that would be their new salary, their new hourly rate going forward throughout the year. And then in January, if they have worked that time period, that whatever that amount is in total, they would get that. They would get half of that in January, and then we get half of that in June.
And like everything, it's subject to taxes and FICA. and all
It
those
is,
things,
absolutely.
which is-
And TRS. Yes, sir.
Well, can we do this? Can we, you come back with option D and then 3% raise, and we vote on that, and
It would be,
winner takes all?
it would be the same.
Say that again,
Because it totals out
No,
to
I'm saying, if
3%.
he comes back next week with the budget, I know it's gonna be the same, but some people want 3%, some people want the 1.5%. And we're not voting on it today. Can we come back with both those options on there, and we vote on it then, and then whoever wins that is what it is? Because we can sit here all night long and argue all of this, because everybody's got their own different opinions. We gotta come up with something now, so we don't have to be here till midnight and keep going through all this stuff. We just need to have either two options and say next week or next month we're voting on it, and whichever one wins, which one wins.
I would love to give you that option, however, I have to build the budget. And so it's not
He's
just.
asking, can you build it twice?
Okay, we need to come up with something now instead of all this stuff. We need to come up with something now and let her build her budget.
Well, I've got two here that have
suggested we go with option D, and I am okay with option D myself.
I like the 3% raise. But we're gonna go with option D, let's go with it.
Can you explain, you just mentioned it's the same thing, just one more time, because I'm the Aggie.
Yeah.
How is it, if it's the same, I'm great with it, but how, like, if you use the Cliff Note version of like why it's exactly identical?
Well, it totals out to 3%. It doesn't matter when we pay it out. It's either gonna be paid out and you know, every paycheck divided by 24, because we're paid twice a month. So if that 3% for that employee is gonna be divided out by 24 checks, or it's gonna be 1.5% by 24 checks, and then 1.5%, you know, part of that, half of that 1.5% in June, and part of it in January.
But the benefit is that for the district is that it's not guaranteed for next year. And
The
your
1
argument is that
half of
that
it
is
would not be,
a
yes.
detriment to the staff member because it's not guaranteed for next year, right? Like,
Well, yeah,
it was a full
anytime you give a stipend by itself, you ultimately put the staff behind. You put the staff behind.
Up again the next year.
You do.
Just
And
to
we
keep
have
those
done
people
that.
going up.
We've done a stipend, when did we do the stipend last?
2 years ago.
Well, you did it last
But
year.
that was on top of a raise.
It was on top of the
That
raise,
was on
but
top of a raise. That was just a bonus gesture. We're talking about, we're adding these to their stipend, I mean, their salaries. And it's
Right.
not gonna, you're gonna come back next year and you're gonna be fighting the same battle, and you're gonna have to raise it higher. If they don't give us any more money, you're not gonna get anything, they're gonna have lower salaries.
So everybody's
Fine with option D.
well, everybody's in agreement that we're at 3%. We're all at 3%, it's just how we're gonna divide it
How
up.
you do
right?
the 3%.
right.
So you're saying 3 flat?
No, I'll go with you, I'll go with y'all. I mean, hold on, you can't-
No, we're trying to see
I'm not
where
with you,
everybody's
Rob.
at.
I like your option
We're
better.
not-
We're agreeing at 3, it's just how we do the 3.
Yeah, no, we're agreeing with 3, which is good. We just needed to make a decision on
and
kind of.
if that's the choice, if you want 3, I can build it with 3, because I don't need to know how it's gonna be divvied out.
Until
And yes, I need to know it before, because we then have to build that budget. I mean, I have to pay this.
Yeah.
I need to know, we have to go in and create, me and George over here have to go into our financial system, and then we are gonna have to look at every single employee, go George, to make sure that it's correct. And so, yeah,
So you can build it on 3 right now,
I
and then we
can
can come
build it
back
at-
later and say, okay, we're gonna give them all 3, or we're gonna go 1.5, 1.5.
if you could tell me that by the end of the month, that would be fantastic. That's when I would need that piece.
So all that requires is us to have some more dialogue.
Yes.
About, we've narrowed it down. We're either the 3 flat or the 1.5, 1.5. Are we in agreement on that?
We're not having another meeting by the end of the month.
Right, and so I was gonna just ask, Chris, I don't know that we can do that outside of a public meeting if we don't do it tonight, am I correct? Outside of what we're talking about?
Number 2 day meeting, we can do it there.
Have a what?
Yeah,
Or
that would
2
be
day.
correct.
Got Karen, you'll have to have a 2 day meeting.
That's right.
We can hash it out there for 3 hours.
Stacey,
Yeah,
will you
if we
please
got,
say
if we
again
get,
I thought we were in
what the
agreement.
TRS hit they're taking at the beginning of the year is gonna be?
So TRS insurance has increased by 8%. So depending on what plan the employee takes, that 8% could be, you know, an extra $30 a month, or it could be hundreds of dollars. Like, it just depends on what plan they have.
I'm not thrilled with it.
okay, since that's not, everybody switch to page 12 on your packet, please. And look at it right now.
What am I looking at?
Page 12,
I'm on
options
that.
for compensation.
I'm not comfortable with them, with saying, yeah, we're gonna give them this, but first you're gonna take a hit. And I know that it's long-term, we're having to cover this long-term, but we're gonna keep having to play catch-up. We're gonna have to keep, over and over again, we're gonna have to do this, and, if we're asking them to do it at the beginning of the year, you know, we're gonna have to keep playing catch-up from that too. Because if they're gonna be behind, with TRS going up, they're gonna already be behind starting off the year. That just, it doesn't sit well with me.
Okay, so option, what letter are you looking at?
When
It's
we're
not really
saying
on
the
here.
3%,
Oh, that's true.
it's not on here. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so your option's not on here.
You said 3%, all right.
but 3%.
We're gonna do E, 3%.
Sorry, Stacey.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's on the graph.
Yes,
on the graph,
It's on the graph right there.
Yes.
1.6.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to get something done.
Yes. I'm D still.
Okay.
I'm still D.
Okay, 2 for D. Majority rules, once we get to 4, we're.
I think you're already 4, but like, I'm going for E.
Yeah, we haven't called a motion.
It's not an official vote, you don't have to worry about the.
You're in open session, so you're fine.
I'm gonna say E just based upon, I'll put this on the back, strength of our financial team. Like, I looked up all the numbers. The last 8 years, we've adopted pretty substantial multi-million-dollar budget deficits, and every year, in the last 8 years, we've had millions of dollars put back into the account. And so I have faith that the state maybe will get it right and we'll get some more funding. I think it is sustainable going forward. And if it's not, then we have some hard decisions to make next year. But I like to see this as a permanent 3%. 3%.
Just 3 across.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. So, straight, Crutcher's at 3 straight. You're still at D and you're at D, right?
Yes.
So,
Me and you, Karen. I'm at 3 straight.
the majority rules, I'll take 3 straight too, so that will be a majority, so we'll build a budget with 3% straight, get you off the hook first. There you go.
Welcome to the board.
Welcome to
Welcome to the board.
again,
Topics we have now.
Deanne and Mason,
Yes.
you're well justified, and I think it's well thought out, and I think we're making a,
If you want that starting salary, 61,000 or 60. Right?
Yes, that's the last thing I need direction on.
I'll vote 61.
61.
Okay?
there we go.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. And I know finance isn't easy, and we're gonna get through these last couple items, but I do appreciate everybody hanging in there. We'll go to 12, action on closed session items. There's no action to be taken. Closing comments. Jason?
I'll be brief.
Really?
Hello? I guess I turned it off. I would like to thank David Yonda for his years of service to the board. I truly appreciate everything he's done. He's a big mentor to me on the board, and I know he's going through some rough times right now, so please keep him in your prayers. Karen, welcome to the board. Look forward to working with you, and I want to thank all the staff for sitting through this meeting, 1, and 2, understanding that while we're trying to give raises and trying to make it right for you, it is difficult, and we are put under a lot of pressure to try to make it right. So I appreciate you, and that's it. Have a good summer.
Thank you, Mason. Melissa?
I just wanted to say again, thank you to David as well, for his years of service and leadership. The conversations we're having tonight about finances are not interesting to everyone, but it is extremely important to our children's education and to maintaining the standards that we as LPISD expect. So this conversation is far from over because we are going to have very difficult conversations go forward. So we just ask that you learn as much as you can, ask questions, but know that this is not easy for us, and we really are putting our whole hearts and heads into the decisions we're making. So parents, get your kids to school, especially next year when we kick off the new year. We're going to need all of those students in school. And thank you to all the staff for a wonderful school year. I know y'all are looking forward to a well-deserved break. Please enjoy it thoroughly for all of us.
Ditto, ditto. Enjoy the last week and a half. I'll pray for you, you pray for me. We're all in the same boat.
You're in the Deer Park boat.
Absolutely. But we're all
Ms. Thompson?
together.
Oh, I'm next. Seeing David this evening was really hard for me, and I couldn't even formulate any words to say to him, but he and I've had multiple discussions about what this night would be like for the both of us, having served together for so many years. So I'm going to miss him. His institutional knowledge, his ability to recall things and say what year things were is just uncanny to me. And sometimes he'll call and say, hey, I need to pick your memory. And I'm thinking, are you kidding? You're the memory guy. But anyway, going to miss him and really appreciate his dedication to the district and his leadership while he was on the board. I hope y'all all enjoy your summer, get some much-needed rest and relaxation, and appreciated the Heritage performance this evening. It was beautiful, and congratulations to all the people we honored. And more tough decisions are ahead, but I think we have a great board to do that, where we can have those kind of conversations, and look forward to serving with you, Karen. And that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm so glad I don't have a microphone, but I just want to say thank you to everyone that supported me. I'm very excited and very, very honored to be here. I am the third member of my family to serve on this school board, so it's pretty exciting. It was really neat tonight to see all of these principals out here, and I think I've worked with almost every single one of you at your campus at one time or another. And congratulations to all of you on all your changes and promotions and everything. That's wonderful. And I would tell you to have a good summer, but I've seen how many days you guys are working, so that's kind of like, find some time and enjoy that time that you have. And again, thank you. I look forward to serving with all of you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. I mean, congratulations certainly to you and for the zoo adventure, and God bless you for wanting to be a part of this awesome, crazy group that we love so much. And then certainly to David, congratulations on time well served. I won't single anybody out because there's so many, but congratulations to all the principals and your new assignments. Those that have been in the district a long time and those that are new to the district. We're praying for you and wish you certainly all the best in your endeavors. I want to say thank you to all the principals, the PTOs, the staff that helped to make our Seal Beach Festival, specifically the parade, a very glowing success. I know that took a lot of work and right in the middle of Star, and we just really appreciate that. It's a really cool community day, and we appreciate all the work that went into that. Or something else, and I can't remember. So again, we thank you guys, and we look forward to reconnecting with you in August, I guess. Thank y'all.
Welcome to the board, and like everybody has said, and then obviously I reiterate those sentiments about David. We can't say enough about him. He really he embodies what you would think a school board trustee would be, and he is a steward, an advocate, an ally. I mean, he challenges you to think, and I just truly indebted to him. I did find it really awesome tonight, and it was like little moments as I was looking through the audience, and I saw Miss Regan, and I saw Miss Angelo, saw Coach Whitlock in the back, Coach LaRoe, and those were all people that really had really significant impacts on my life, and it was like just this little snapshot. And there's so many people in this room that are having such a positive impact on those kids. There's so many stories just like mine, and seeing these people, it's really refreshing. And we are doing some remarkable things, and I urge our stakeholders just to stay the course, be patient, have faith, and I assure you that you will not find a more dedicated body than these guys up here. Everybody just pours their heart and soul into this. Everybody bleeds orange and really wants what's best for everyone. So I'm proud to work with everybody here, and they've done a remarkable job. And again, kudos to a successful year, and I hope you enjoy your summer. Dr. Jackson, you close it out?
I didn't get an opportunity to say to David how much I appreciated him being on the board and being one of the board members that hired me in this district, but I appreciate his intelligence, I appreciate his passion, I appreciate his poise, and I appreciate his persistence. David goes into the pantheon of one of the smartest people that I've ever met. He's brilliant, and he served this district valiantly, and we wish him all the best, and I know that you will join me in keeping him and little beautiful Angelica and his family in our thoughts and prayers. And I want to say to the Port community and the Port ISD that brighter days are ahead. We're going to get through this, but we're going to get through this together. And thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. With no other action, we will close this meeting at 9:45.